faith, 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 just a little bit of faith. Faith, 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 just a little bit of faith. You don't need a whole lot, just use what you got. Faith, 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 just a little bit of faith.
Hope.
Hope, 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 just a little bit of hope. Hope, 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 just a little bit of hope. You don't need a whole lot, just use what you got. Hope, 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 just a little bit of hope.
Love.
Love, 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 just a little bit of love. Love, 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 just a little bit of love. You don't need a whole lot, just use what you got. Love, 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 just a little bit of love.
All right, how about some change?
Change, 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 just a little bit of change. Change, 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 just a little bit of change. You don't need a whole lot, just use what you got. Change, 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 just a little bit of change.
Gonna need some faith for that change.
Faith, 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 just a little bit of faith. Faith, 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 just a little bit of faith. You don't need a whole lot, just use what you got. Faith, 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 just a little bit of faith.
All right.
Good morning. And happy Labor Day weekend. It's an especially happy one for me being a University of Michigan fan. Just saying. Let's take a moment, just breathe and relax and enter into the moment of this morning's Sunday service. I'd like to begin by dedicating my lesson to the late Louise Hay, who made her transition quite recently. A religious science leader, Louise Hay taught us how to transform our lives through the power of positive thinking and the power of affirmation. As with her own personal journeys, Louise Hay was not guaranteed an easy path in life. She endured serious childhood traumas and dis-ease later in life, but she was able to overcome. In her best-selling book, You Can Heal Your Life, from 1984, Hay writes, "We must be willing to learn to love ourselves. Self-approval and self-acceptance in the now are the keys to positive changes. When we really love ourselves, everything in our life works." Unquote. So I bid thee Godspeed, my sister Louise Hay, and affirm that your ongoing spirit lives through your powerful legacy forever and ever and ever. Amen. One thing I've learned as a youngster was the best way to advocate for something is to have a skeptic do it. I learned this the hard way in high school when we had a debate course in our language arts class. And our teacher, in her wisdom, said, "Okay, class, here are 6 issues, and you're each going to take a side." So I proudly took the pro side of a certain issue. I forget what the issue was, but I remember I took the pro side. And then she scribbled her notes on the piece of paper, and she says, "John Meeks, you're doing the opposite side." So guess what? I had to do a lot more research and put a lot more effort, and I got a pretty good grade on the debate part of the class. I say that because I did some studying into my astrology, and I'm a Capricorn. And Capricorns are one of the most averse to change astrological signs imaginable. So who better to advocate for something that I wasn't quite too clear about? But I did my research, and actually I'm embracing change. So that's a good first step, right? Louise Hay spoke of positive changes in our lives and our world. When we are set in our ways, we question any kind of need for change in our lives. We are comfortable at best, but complacent at worst. So there's a mindset that we're stuck in, and it may not be to our best benefit. There's a gentleman who worked for a catalog company for much of his life. If you recall those old Sears catalog days, not only were they good for shopping with, but I leave to your imagination what it was good for also. I'll leave it out. But anyways, the retail world, of course, is evolving and changing and shifting. And he found himself out of a job. He was in a very, very bad way. He was pressed for money. And of course, he went about it in the only way he knew how. He picked up the phone and he called his local bank. And he says, "Hello, this is Gary, and I just wanted to call you to let you know this is a stick-up. If you could send $100,000 to the following mailing address..." You have to adapt, don't you think? Gary didn't. Are there times in which we're unaware of the need to change, to adapt, to overcome, to be flexible? Carl Anthony wrote a wonderful song about, "I am flexible, I am willing to change. I'd rather bend than break." That's a constant affirmation in my life. I'd rather bend than break. Let's take a good look at Sweden, which did its fair share of bending today, 50 years ago. They woke up this morning in Sweden and found themselves collectively driving on the other side of the road. Collectively. Would you be able to endure a situation in which in the United States here, you saw all your neighbors and friends and family all of a sudden driving on the left-hand side of the road? It seems like an earth-shattering change, but to be honest, they did their preparation. They prepared a space for themselves in Sweden. It took actually 4 years to implement this change starting in 1963, culminating in this switch on September 3rd, 1967. They passed out flyers, pamphlets, they did extreme public relations. They even divvied out color-coded gloves to teach their drivers when the switch is going to begin. The rock group, the Telstars, were enlisted to create a song called "Keep to the Right, Svensson." Their change was a success. That is the first of 3 keys to successful change. We have the power to effect change, be it simple or great, when we are truly enlightened. Doing my own life work here, for me, change represented darkness. Change represented something to be afraid of. The comfort zone was full of light because I knew what I needed to do. I knew my routine. I knew to a T, almost to a fault, my life. So when unexpected change comes, of course, I'm fearful. I learned, though, when I approach change with wisdom and knowledge and light, and let's remember this. Wisdom's not being the know-it-all of everything. Wisdom is knowing that you do have some learning to do in this process of change. We have the humility to seek enlightenment when we have true wisdom, to make the unknown known. Genesis chapter 1 says, don't even know how to bookmark. It's the first page in the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." Truer words have never been recited from this great book, because even the creation of our universe was change. Even the creation of our existence began with change. And the first step of change, even from God's hands, was, let there be light. So when we change, can we please change in the light that God even summoned with his speech? There's a radio program that I've become a big fan of called Under the Influence by Terry O'Reilly on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I happen to hear this on satellite radio. But change without light is failure. His program talks about marketing around the world, marketing successes and marketing flops. And if you ever wonder why, how many of you have been to China? I've not been, so. There are no Home Depots in China. I bet you didn't know that, but now you do. Why? Home Depot is a very successful retailer here in the United States. So, of course, they want to expand, and expansion is a form of change. But they changed in the dark. Number one, a central theme of Home Depot is do it yourself. But in Chinese culture, labor is so cheap, they don't mind having help come in and do the work for them. So that was strike one. Contractors are doing the work. Why bother doing it for myself? I can just give them pennies. Strike two was most urban homes were not the spacious homes we enjoy in the United States. Living space is at a premium, so there's no room for tools and equipment and all the cool stuff we keep in our storage sheds and our garages. There was no room. Strike two. And strike three. Chinese culture valued decoration, not whole cloth renovation. Strike three. So someone failed to do their homework, and change did not happen. It's obvious. Well, maybe it's not so obvious. That when you enter a darkened room, you know what you instinctively do. We fumble around for that switch, or we try to pull that chain or whatever. But whatever happens, our comfort level is you sort of feel a sort of panic, because when you walk in a room and you instinctively reach for that switch and you can't find it, you're fumbling about. And that's the same with change. We regress to a childhood fear of the boogeyman when we're in that darkness and we can't find that switch. We resort to a sense of regression to where we feel helpless. And that's one reason why I'm confronting my fear of change, to where Capricorns tend to be control. We like to control. We don't feel in control, we feel awkward. So find that light. And to be honest, it's not even in the switch. This little light of mine, tap that. There's a flip side, though. I'm focusing too much on not enough light. Didn't Manfred Mann write that song, Blinded by the Light? He sure did. Too much knowledge can also be a bad thing. Moderation is key in every aspect of our lives. And if we lack the power of discernment, and we have a challenge separating the wheat from the chaff when it comes from knowledge and light, we're just as lost. In the Old Testament book of Judges, God and Gideon were preparing for battle against the Midianites. Over 30,000 men were prepared for battle, ready to do battle against the enemy. In chapter 7 of the book of Judges, the Lord said to Gideon, "You have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into their hands, or Israel would boast against me, my own strength has saved me." So God wanted to let Gideon know, we're not going to let ego think it's going to prevail. We want to have enough challenge for your men to winnow them down. But what does this have to do with too much knowledge? I'm getting there. Gideon encouraged the first test of winnowing down the troops to a manageable size, or the size that God wanted. He said, look, if you're afraid of battle, and if you are squeamish at the sight of your blood or anyone else's blood, feel free to go home. And 22,000 men indeed chose to leave. With 10,000 remaining, God said, still, too many. Too many for us to win on spirit alone. So Gideon summoned the remaining 10,000 men to drink water from a brook that is freely passing by. Most of the men they dropped to their knees, and they began just drinking vigorously from the passing brook. Gideon said, "You also may go. There's no place for you in our army." 300 men stayed, and those 300 men were the men who gathered at the brook, cupped their hands up, and lapped the water from their hands. Why was this the ultimate test of their ability to win or prevail? According to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, the act of getting down on the hands and knees and drinking freely from the brook indicated a lack of discrimination, a lack of discernment, a gullibility, so to speak, of just taking whatever comes your way. And without the power of discernment, the mind lacks the judgment to make the right choices with the right information. As opposed to the men who scooped up the water and lapped it, they were selective in what they were bringing into their minds and into their bodies and into their souls. We're faced with that today. Our discernment is totally tested today. I've been tested. I've gone on Facebook and I've shared that thing about get $200 worth of Publix groceries, which of course it wasn't real. And I'm learning slowly but surely to discern. Whatever message I accept and pass on, that's a reflection of me and my judgments, my power to discern things. And if I don't have the right information, or if I have too much of the wrong information, change could also be a failure. And let's not be misunderstood, ladies and gentlemen. To be deceived by false knowledge is nothing of this generation's making. Some of y'all thought that Paul McCartney was dead. Replaced by a look-alike. Really? And generations ago, Orson Welles scared us senseless with the War of the Worlds broadcast in 1938. Some people lacking the power of discernment were actually in New Jersey taking pot shots with their rifles at what ended up being a water tower. But they truly thought it was an alien spaceship because Orson Welles, what a voice. True story. The story of Gideon also reminds us that there's a second key to affecting successful change in your world, and that is the will. That first group of soldiers that were sent home, they lacked the will. So they were free to go back to where they came from. It was not a mark against them, but it was an understanding their energy was not in it, and they were redirected to go back and take care of their farms, take care of their families, take care of their towns. So the ones with the true will would stay in and bring victory to the Israelites. Wisdom without will is you're sort of spinning your wheels. I'm having a flashback to my school days when knowledge and wisdom were going to prevail as we were going to convert to the magical metric system. Facts are facts. Our teachers told us facts are facts. It's a superior system. It's based on the base 10 system? And I remember seeing those. Remember on the highways, the kilometers and the miles per hour signs? We were rocking and rolling. But we lacked the will. So no matter how much truth and reason are out there, if we don't have the will, we can't make it. I knew for years that smoking will kill me. But did I have the will? Temptation. But did I have the will? But I'm not here to judge, as I just said. My efforts came to fruition when the will finally came 4 years ago. Remember, I teach middle school, and a chronic clove cigarette smoker has a tough time chasing kids down the hall without... And I knew it was time to make a change when I got winded going down the stairs. Our homes may be even loaded with signs of lost and fulfilled efforts at change. Maybe we didn't have the right information. Maybe we didn't physically will ourselves to do the work that's necessary. We may even be haunted by our previous attempts to better ourselves. But we have the power in us to change ourselves in the world because we are always constantly changing. We just have to be aware of it. And the third key to successful change is a cycle. Change is not a let's stop here, we're done. Then that creates a new status quo, doesn't it? Even the revolutionary becomes the conventional. Even a vibrant movement such as unity can threaten, I say this repeatedly as much as I can, are we a movement or are we a museum in unity? We're always on the move as humanity. This church, this ministry was born to keep unity moving forward, to be part of the living movement. And it's important that we do release what does not serve us on a constant basis. So we have the wisdom to lighten our way. We have the will to propel us. And then we have the flexibility to continue changing constantly and growing. And that is how we are in the flow with God and with life. If God was willing to change when he turned on the lights millennia ago, we're simply following his lead by continuing the change. We can make it happen. You can make it happen. Peace be with you.
Please join us in preparation for meditation with Heart of the Mother. You'll find the lyrics in your insert. I am one with the heart of the Mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. I am one with the heart of the Mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. I am one with the heart of the Mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God.
As we prepare for meditation, we close our eyes and arrange our physical bodies into a comfortable position, and we become at ease in our personal space. We quietly and gently prepare to still our physical presence. We attune ourselves to the spiritual presence. As I count down, we enter quietly and gently into our inner sanctuary. We occupy a hallowed space where we transcend time, we transcend body, we transcend our egos. We are one with the I Am. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. With each succeeding breath, you are aware of an energy around you that is in constant motion. Speeds, rhythms, tempos. You are the dynamics. You are in the presence. You are in the dynamic presence of a great, vast universe. Every cell in you and around you is vibrating with a changing and moving energy. Gently and quietly, you become aware of your source. You become aware of our source, the engine, the energy that powers our ever-evolving existence and shifting substance. But the energy is constant as our truth and good. Allow yourself and your mind to fall into this sync and align yourself peacefully with this energy that powers our change and our unfolding evolution. We are one with the I Am. We are one with the I Am. we are one with the I am in the silence. In the silence. In the silence. From this silence and stillness, and from this blessed sanctuary in your inner sanctum, you begin to stir slowly back into the physical realm. You begin to quietly and peacefully reemerge into your physical space, alive, awake, alert, and aware. And we return together into the physical world. And all is good, and all is well. When you're ready, you may open your eyes. Namaste.
We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the mothers who breathe with Mother Earth. We are the fathers, blessed with the sacred strength, sisters and brothers, respected hand in hand. Sons and the daughters, we walk upon this sacred land, and we are the ones that we've been waiting for. Join us. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the healers who hear the voice of truth. We are the elders who wisdom guides our youth, searchers and seekers with wings spread into the sun. Shapers and builders whose work for peace is never done, and we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We're givers of mercy, believers in grace, singers of great beauty, and keepers of the faith. We are the sailors who come back through the storm. We are the dreamers resting in God's arms, dancers and lovers who move beneath the stars. Masters and teachers whose visions remind us who we are. And we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones